and the Ad Council.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Welcome to Real Family Talk with your host, Jay Real, where we talk about real issues facing us today. Enjoy the show. Real Family Talk.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. And with the family again, it's Tuesday, Jay Real's favorite day. Here with the family again. I'm Miss McCrae, here with Miss Monica. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Miss McCrae?
I'm hanging in there. Mr. Brandon on the boards.
How y'all doing?
What's going on? And Mr. King.
Yes, all right.
Another Tuesday. Here we go. Our fearless leader is right here with us. He's just letting me fill in just a little bit, get my shine on.
Just to hear your voice.
Just to hear my voice.
You know we
at
like
the
that.
top of the show.
You know you have such a beautiful voice.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We love hearing your voice. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. I know I am. It is Tuesday, y'all. Tuesday, Real Family Talk. So we've already kind of introduced the panel, so I'll say hello. Hope everybody's having a great day. Everybody's having a good day today?
Yes.
Yeah?
All right.
Yeah?
Doing great.
Doing great. Awesome. So let's jump right in here. We got some little topics I want to kind of grasp at real quick. The first grasp, over the weekend, and we're supposed to do a political show tonight. We're gonna press forward, and with that and figure out what to do. But President Obama over the weekend gave a speech, okay? And in this speech, he made some comments that he's catching a lot of flack for today, or the last couple of days. He's been catching a lot of flack for, and so I'm gonna just ask some questions. Yes. So if Miss McCrae, I know you looked it up for me earlier. If you'll go ahead and kind of tell me a little bit about those comments that he made that he's catching a lot of flack for.
All right. So basically, and of course, people are jumping on it in a negative spin. He's talking about business leaders, and his main point was, you didn't do this alone. You may have worked hard, you may be very smart, but you didn't build that business by yourself. And it makes sense because none of us get to where we are in success. Nobody does it by themselves. There's somebody who opened the door for you. There's somebody who encouraged you. Maybe they were emotional support or financially supported you to build that business. So his points were, you didn't do this alone. Don't think that you're a one-man show building a business. And now Fox News and the Republican side are taking his words and spinning it, making it sound like he doesn't care about business leaders, or he doesn't think that a business leader has done it by themselves, that they don't have the powers that they claim to have. And those aren't not at all what he's talking about. At all.
So explain to me, because I heard this, and I was like, so what is he saying? So that people who own businesses, whom, if you've ever owned a business, and, for those of you that out there that have, especially a successful business, that it takes hours and hours and countless upon hours in order to make this business successful. And this is typically not being done by, other individuals, because even if you do have a crew of people that are helping you, most business owners are still working, 2 to 3 times harder, even the people that are helping them. So the thing I didn't really understand is, what was he suggesting? That, what is he trying to drive home this whole idea that since you have all of this help, you shouldn't really have a problem with the whole idea of, quote unquote, taxing the rich, and is that what this is leading back to? Because it kind of sounds like that, and I don't even know if that was his initial, because if I look at it like this, before a person of his stature gives a speech, it is dissected 100 times. And so they had to know when they gave the speech that it was they were going to get caught or get some flack for it. And so why give a speech? In this political season, I know you're trying to build up your base. And so what is this, like just one of those speeches where you're like, well, I'm going to rile up the base even though I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for it? Or, what was your message? What were you trying to say here? Because clearly, I mean, for everybody that loves him, of course, they're going, yay, woo, 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 Obama.
Really?
You know what I'm
Really?
saying?
That's how we sound? That's how we sound? Really?
Yay.
J-Real?
But, for everybody that's like, on the fence, if you will, or certainly for his critics, I mean, he's got to know that they're going to look at this speech and go, you know what I'm saying? It sounds like, again, it just sounds like more of the same, you know what I'm saying? So since you didn't build this business on your own and you shouldn't be standing up on this pedestal like, oh, I built this, $1 billion business. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? So because you did that, you need to realize that you need to be able to give back to all those people that help you, or quote unquote, you need to be able to give back to, the I guess the middle class or the poor people, because they're the ones that help your business become $1 billion. I mean, is that, so you should be able to, you shouldn't feel bad about paying extra in taxes because, these people help you be able to make all this money?
Yes.
Is that what we're saying here?
It sounds like that's what he was doing. He was trying to cater to the little people. I think that's what it is because, the big fish have the money. They're already the big fish. So I think it sounds like he was trying to cater to the little fish to, make them feel special because, hey, without you, the big fish, the big kahuna wouldn't be able to be where he is now. Because like we were saying, if you have a restaurant and you don't have people going to your restaurant, constantly tweeting about your restaurant on Facebook or restaurant, most people know that word of mouth is the way that everything gets around. So without those people doing or talking about you, you wouldn't be in the position that you're in now. You need help to get to where you are now. And I think that's the message that he was attempting to get across. Now, why was he trying to get that message across? I'm with you on that one. Why was you even saying this? I don't know. But that's what he was, trying to say. It kind of shows that he's not perfect with every speech because this speech really didn't make any sense, but I still understand what the brother was trying to say.
It made sense. They just nitpicking on everything. Just like you said, his speechwriter wrote that and read it over and over and over again, thinking it's just a normal speech. They are just trying to find the smallest thing to jump on, find that, and then you have these press releases, you have these sound bites over and over and over again till it makes it a big deal. It really isn't that serious. It's really not that serious.
Well, I guess if you say he's nitpicking, I guess it's all a part of the game.
Yeah, on both sides. And his side is not innocent either, because they're going to nitpick on little things that Romney is doing. It's all nitpicking, and we all have to be smart enough to not play into all this nonsense and look at the facts when you're trying to make a decision, and not into these games that they're playing, because this is clearly blown out of proportion.
Right. In fact, I think it states that Romney says, what he has perceived what President Obama was saying is that we should be ashamed of success. And it doesn't seem like he's saying that at all.
Not at all.
So to take it to, way to the left, it's just ridiculous, but I guess he's just trying to get attention.
Well, I guess that. And if that's the case, then I guess it's fair game because they're nitpicking on his Mitt Romney as well. And so I guess it's a part of the game. You're telling me
both sides.
All right, because I just hearing the speech, I'm just like, what? What is he trying to say? What is he trying to say here?
Not
man?
even that serious.
It sounds pretty serious. It does.
God.
It sounds pretty serious. Definitely sounds serious to me.
Of course.
I think ideally, you're not a solo proprietor for a very long time. Sole proprietor, excuse me. So, you do have people that help you, whether they were the people that created the idea, whether they were the people that spearheaded, the documents and all of that. No, they may not have done all of those things, but you do at some point have employees, you do have supporters, you do have other people. So you shouldn't look as though it's, I did all of this, because you didn't do all of it. You didn't do everything.
Right.
And so if it wasn't for people to continue to get your services, to refer your services, to, support you and support your business, you may not have gotten to that success level. So why should you act like you don't owe anybody anything because, you've got yourself here. So you don't give anything to anybody. And
then using this as a way to deflect his issues of storing his money in overseas accounts, that he's a multi-millionaire man who's so rich that he can have his money in 5 different countries.
Well, I mean, come on now. To me, they're nitpicking on that.
Really?
But there's people who aren't potential presidential candidates. There's Democrats in Congress right now who have the same thing. I
Right.
mean,
But they're
it's
not
called
trying
it's
to
called smart
lead-
money. It's
They're
called
not
smart
trying to
money.
lead the nation of people who aren't like that.
So
the
if you-
1%, you might
So
1%.
if you want to run for president, you can't have a lot of money because
How do
you're
you relate?
alienating a bunch of people.
How do you relate to that other part of the country, the
Are we
majority of the country
Are we
who
forgetting-
doesn't have, they can barely have a bank account in their little county.
Are we forgetting that the president is a millionaire?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, so because
He's-
he only
he's a-
has
no, no,
10
no.
million and Romney has a couple 100 million, then clearly he understands them better than Romney.
They all are overpaid, first of all. And I stand firmly on that. They all are overpaid to be public servants. But this man is a multi-millionaire.
So
where
you
he
know what that
has-
says to me?
What does that say?
You know what that says to me? That tells me that this man knows how to create.
Make money for himself?
Knows
Yeah,
how
sure.
Hold on. He knows how to create a business, number one.
Uh-huh.
He clearly knows how to create jobs, number two.
Does he?
And he clearly can help lead people that don't have any or are trying to achieve success be able to obtain it. Why? Because if you've been to the top of the mountain, you can help someone else, or at least tell someone else, or show someone else how to get to the top of the mountain. So that's what that tells me.
Really?
So I'm not offended about the fact that he has a couple $100 million. As a matter of fact, it makes me excited because not that I personally would ever had the opportunity to sit with him, but the idea that the country is going to be run by someone who knows how to create businesses and
For
then allow businesses to.
himself. He made all
What
that money
business did
for
he-
himself. If you look at all his employees, how many of his employees are making that money?
I don't know how many people work for Staples right now.
But I'm just
How many
saying.
people work for Home
But
Depot
I'm just
right
saying,
now? How many
if
people
you're
work at
talking about
AMC theaters
somebody,
right now?
if you're talking about somebody who can create something, he can create wealth for himself, not wealth for his employees, not wealth for the company, not wealth for the good of whatever community that business is in.
Well, first of all, no business creates wealth for their employees.
Of course.
They create jobs for their employees, and then it's their employees' job, if they know how to build wealth, to build wealth.
Here we
That's
go.
not the CEO's responsibility. You know,
Okay.
I work for a company right now. Is the CEO of my company trying to help me build wealth? No, he's not trying to help me build wealth. He says, I
just
pay
stay on
you a
that
certain
job.
salary,
So that you can make
and so
money.
I pay you this salary, and I expect you to do whatever job I'm hired for. And so he's not looking out to help me obtain wealth. Even when you're talking about, the government is not out to help you obtain wealth. So no company, not the government or any other entity, is out trying to train you on how to obtain wealth. That is an individual goal that you have to set for yourself and then discover on your own how that goal is achieved. But it's not something that the president is going to do. It's not something that some potential president or candidate is going to do. None of them are going to help us do that. That's something that we have to learn and achieve on our own. As a matter of fact, it's the reason why people like Mitt Romney start a business, because they want to obtain wealth. You don't attain
rich.
wealth.
He was already rich. He was born
He
rich.
wasn't a couple $100 million rich.
He just got richer. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Exactly. So what I'm saying, so he
rich
had to do
people
a lot
can
of
get
work.
more money.
He had to do a lot of work to get there.
Did he?
But yeah, of course he did. You don't obtain hundreds of millions of dollars just naturally unless your name is Kennedy or your name is Walton. Okay.
Romney has some pull too. That last name Romney.
Or Bush helps too.
Romney.
But I'm just saying, it takes work and effort to obtain that amount of money. Maybe he had a couple million when he started, but a couple million just doesn't automatically turn into a couple $100 million over the length of a time. I mean, Bain was $1 billion company, still is $1 billion company. So of course, the people at the top of that company are going to be able to thrive and succeed off of $1 billion company. It's business.
Well,
I mean,
what about
this
the-
is what people go into business for. Why are we hating on people who strive all their life to build a business, who go out, are successful at creating that business, and then now that they're there, we're saying, wait a minute, why do you get the opportunity to earn $40 million a year? Because I helped create 100,000 jobs last year. That's why I get an opportunity to make $40 million a year. What is wrong with that? What when I hear that story, I'm inspired. Like, man, how can I go out and help somebody create $100,000? Because I'm trying to make $40 million a year. I'm trying to make $80 million a year, $100 million a year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not in any way, I don't have the type of wealth he has at the moment. I'm not even close. But I'm not offended by that. I'm inspired by that to figure out what did he do to get there, and how can I become what he was so that I can get there too. That's my thought. That's the thought process.
It's going to be for him.
Even when you
for
say
his wealth, not for the betterment of his people, not for the betterment of his employees, and definitely this nation. If he's going to run this nation, none of that's going to translate into the people. That is all translating into Mitt Romney. What's his real name? I forgot his real name. But Mitt. That's all his wealth. And the board members, none of the employees, what you were talking about. And then that goes back into what the president was talking about. It's not about you. For your business to succeed, you have other people around you to help you with that business. And that was his whole point, that was he's trying to say, that is now being turned around as he's against business leaders. It's nuts. It's crazy. Get your people, J-Real. Get your people.
My people want the president and everybody like the president to leave them alone and let them make their millions of dollars.
Oh, okay. The 1% make their millions of dollars, while the rest of us,
most people in this country who make $1 million didn't have money when they got their $1 million. They found a way. They found a way to build and find a way to create that money. When you think about most of the black professionals today that have that kind of money, they found a way to build and make that money. And even a lot of people who had that kind of money, they started a business somewhere and then they created that money. So again, why are we so focused on people who have worked all their life to figure out a way to make $1 million, $2 million? You're talking about actors and actresses who making $20, $30 million per movie, and some of them are making $100 million a year. These are people who, they worked hard at a craft, found somebody who was willing to pay them that money, or created a business that was willing to that could fund that generated that type of money, and now they make that type of money. There's no reason to feel like these people are cheating anybody. At the end of the day, they're exactly where every one of us want to be, and I don't see why we have some kind of animosity towards any of these people because they paid the taxes that the tax code tells them that they're supposed to pay, and then to go back and say, well, the tax code is wrong, you should be paying a lot more. It needs to be changed, yes.
No. Yes.
If the tax code says A to Z.
It's a luxury. If you earn more, you pay more.
Then, yeah, and you do pay more, though. That's the point.
Boom. Pay even more.
I'll throw a question at you that the Sean Hannitys and the Mark Levins of the world like to throw out there. So if a person makes $10 million a year, how much do you think they should pay in taxes?
A lot.
What's a lot? Give me a number.
I don't know.
Give me a number. Any number.
I don't know.
$10 million a year.
5%.
Should he pay? So 5% of his $10 million he should pay in taxes.
Sure.
Well, he's already paying a lot more than 5%. So what's the problem?
5%. The rest of them got to do it too.
But they're already paying more than 5%.
As you increase in the amount that you make, you got to pay more too. And trust me, I hope to be making those dollars too. And guess what? I'm gonna have to pay them. I'm gonna have to pay it. That's part of the being rich. You got to deal with this stuff. The 1%. I want to be part of the 1%. We all want to be part of the 1%, Jimmy. J-Real. But what I'm saying is you need a leader who's going to be able to relate and pull that and make that for more than just himself. That's all I'm saying. Help the people.
And Barack Obama.
The people.
President Barack Obama is that leader.
Middle class.
He's going to make sure the middle class is all wealthy.
He's making the middle class. He's going to tax
and
the rich.
All the poor people are
He's going to tax the rich.
You hear that, Mike? President Obama is going to make sure you're wealthy.
See,
Mr. Michael King.
You see how he's taking
He's going to make sure you're wealthy.
You see how he's taking it?
He's going to make sure all the poor people in the world are wealthy. Well, if that's the case,
you see how
then I too am going to vote for President Obama if he's going to make me wealthy.
We have that on the air. We heard it. Let's capture that right now.
We're gonna catch just that sound bite.
Just that sound bite. We're going to replay it over and over and over again from now until November. Press record.
Right before the show.
Yes.
Every day.
I
Press
too will
play.
vote in for President Obama.
At the beginning of the show and at the end of the show, we're going to play that.
Call in 407-894-1680. 407-894-1680.
Yes, 407-894-1680. That's the number. You can call up here. Clearly, the whole, or at least Miss McCrae, Miss Monica, and Brandon and Mr. Micah King over there, they're kind of quiet right now. But
Y'all
clearly,
just
Miss McCrae.
so passionately,
You know,
feeling it.
I have a love-hate
They're
relationship.
basically saying everything that I'm thinking. I'm sitting back listening like I love it.
No, I have a love-hate relationship with J Real, so he understands.
Oh, God.
He knows what's up.
We do have a call.
I think we'll see in a moment. We'll see what happens. But hello, I guess we do have a caller. How you doing tonight, caller?
I am blessed, thank you.
Oh, that's good. What's your comment tonight?
Well, I had a couple of things that I wanted to say. First of all, I, heard you guys when I got in my car talking about the speech that the president gave about the business owners and that the fact that they did not, get to where they are by themselves, which he's absolutely right. Doesn't matter how hard you may have worked to build your business. You needed people. You had to have someone that helped you to be successful in that business. So, of course, the president was right. So I don't really understand the great, criticism and why did he give the speech that he gave and if he was pandering to this person or that person. I don't, and I think it's very disrespectful way in the way we talk about the president as if he's some little boy on the street, and it's almost as if we sound like the Republicans in the way Fox News handled the president. And I really, as a person, as an individual, take issue with it. You can be who you are or be a part of whatever party you want to be a part of, but there's a certain level of respect even when you're talking about the president and the way why he gave the speech and this he tone. It's not very nice and it doesn't come across really well, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. I appreciate the comment. We certainly thank you for calling in and letting us know that. We hear a lot of that, especially critics. Those of us who do criticize President Obama, we do catch a lot of flack. Especially, I fancy myself as not being too bad. I fancy myself as not being too bad. That's what I said. So I do watch a lot of political radio. But I do watch a lot of political radio, so I do catch a lot of some of the other the major conservatives out there and some of the comments they make. And my feeling on what they have to say sort of flows like this, that a lot of them they're right to criticize because this is a free country and you have the right to say what you want to say. But certainly some of the things that they say could be considered taken too far. Why? Because we live in a sensitive, racially divided world. And I believe when they're commenting, they're certainly not taking that into account, that people are racially sensitive because he is the first black president. And so there are things that I think some of the things that they say, I don't think they're so much as wrong, but they're wrong because when you compare that context of the people that are listening to you, especially black people who are already very sensitive when it comes to race, it certainly comes off as being very racial. And when I listen to them, I'll say, as a black man, I'll vouch to say I don't think they're trying to be racial. But when you're 50 and you live in a world where you believe everybody's equal, you'll say some stuff that you don't think is racial, but because you don't understand the dynamic of the audience you're speaking to, it comes across insensitive. And I say, and to me, that's the perspective I believe they come from. I don't believe they come from a perspective of racism. I believe they come from a perspective of not truly understanding how sensitive the audience, let's not say the audience, the black audience that hears them is to issues related to race because they live in this fantasy unbiased world where racism and racial issues don't truly exist because this is 2012. And so I just don't think they're sensitive to that. But are they being racial? Are they being disrespectful from a racial perspective? I disagree to say that they aren't. But, again, we're sensitive. And so, you can't just say anything about our our black heroes, if you will. That's my comment on that.
Oh, that's interesting. So you believe that just by what you said earlier, these people that sit around and dissect these speeches and all this, when they make their comments on the radio, they're not aware at all of being racially sensitive? They're not aware of that, or are they creating this stuff to create controversy? What do you think?
I don't think they are aware that they're supposed to be racially sensitive. I truly don't. Because you have to remember, these people are paid to comment. And so if I'm going to be paid to comment, if I'm going to give you my honest comment has to come without considering your feelings. It just has to flow. It's the same thing that I do on air here, on Real Family Talk. My honest comment has to do just that. It has to flow. And so if I offend you, truly, I'm not trying to. I'm not sitting at home thinking, what can I say today that's going to really offend them? That's not what I'm doing. I'm coming up with my opinions and I'm saying them. And then if I offend you, I do apologize. I'm really not trying to offend you. I love you too. But sometimes it may come off that way. And a lot of these commentators, I feel they're doing the same. I listen to them. On a daily basis. So I hear the good, the bad, and the ugly that they have to say. And when you listen to what they have to say, when you see how they believe and then the comments that they make, it's consistent with their beliefs. It can be insensitive sometimes, but it's not supposed to be racially sensitive. It's really not built in that. They're really not out to be racial. They truly aren't.
So
maybe Rush Limbaugh, certainly he may not fall into that category all the time. But a lot of the other guys, they're really not. I really don't believe that they are out to be insensitive when it comes to race. They just don't see. They're not as sensitive as we are to race because we are. It's us, right? So because of who we are, because of our experiences, we are sensitive. But they don't have those experiences. They live in the 2012 world where, racial politics is now underground, and unless you are experiencing it, you don't even realize it's going on half the time. Am I right? Because it's not overt anymore. Racism is not overt anymore. Racism is underground. Racism is there's 4 candidates that go to a job, 3 whites and 1 blacks. And racism is there's a white guy interviewing, and so the white guy almost automatically is already dismissed the black guy. Why? Because he doesn't understand the black guy. And so he's racially insensitive to the black guy, and so he's not getting the job. So the 3 white guys are already ahead of him. That's racism today. It's not overtly. People aren't walking outside calling you the N-word anymore. People are still, inadvertently or not inadvertently, purposely, quietly, following you in the store because they know they can't, you know what I'm saying? It's underground. It's not in your face anymore. And so because of that, a lot of people say it doesn't exist, but because they aren't black, they aren't a minority, they don't see it. So in their mind, it does not exist, And that's where these people are, and I think that's one of the things that we have to remember when we listen to them. They're not coming from it from our perspective. Why? Because they don't understand our perspective. They don't grasp that you still get followed by the police just because you're a black guy that has a nice car. They don't get that because in their world that doesn't exist.
But
and so we have to remember that.
It's up to us to educate them on that so that they aren't as ignorant and make these mistakes that.
Even when you do, they don't get it.
But until you just got to keep saying it. You got to keep letting them know until they get it into your head. Oh, you can't say just random stuff that comes to your mind, Bill O'Reilly. You just can't do that. What's the other? Rush Limbaugh. And I want to go back to my first comment before. His name is Willard Mitt Romney. Thank you, Mr. King.
Yeah, that sounds racist. Willard.
Well, that's Will Smith's real name too. So we can't just say that it's all white people with the name Willard.
Just certain
but
things.
But that's his name, Willard.
Sounds racist though, Willard.
Really? I can't.
Because he chose his name. He chose his
name.
I'm
he
sorry.
Came out of his
when his parents were young, they had the Klan.
Okay.
Oh,
all right. So
we're not calling anybody racist based on what their mama named them.
Moving on.
I mean, I could go there for days.
Nobody's gonna be racist. Go with their mama named them. That ain't their fault. 407-894-1680. I had another comment about the president as well. I wrote a blog about this as well. RealFamilyTalk.weebly.com, which I titled POTUS. For those that don't know, President of the United States. But This one was about last week, of course, was the NAACP convention. And, of course, at the last minute, the president pulled out, said he had a scheduling conflict, and sent Vice President Joe Biden to take his place. Now, of course, presidential nominee here, Mitt Romney, showed up. And he did his speech, and basically he went in and he, stuck to his campaign, his platform, and told this crowd of NAACP members his platform, which, no surprise, they weren't totally receptive to. But he did it, and he did it anyway, stood up. He did get a couple of boos, but they did say once he was finished, they gave him a standing ovation. But what I've just found interesting is the cancellation of the president at the last minute. I said this before. If the black president can't go to the black event, how can we expect any other president to do that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we complain so much about presidents not responding to us, and here we have the black president not responding to us. It's not like they called him on Tuesday and like, hey, Mr. President, we're going to have a convention on Thursday, and so can you come down? No, they probably had this thing planned a year in advance. Okay. As a matter of fact, he actually committed to coming prior to, a couple months back. He said he was coming. And then it came time, and he was like, I got a scheduling conflict, but I'm going to send Joe. Joe, why don't you go down there and talk to them?
That's how you sound? Wait.
Know what? I don't know.
and we can put this on record. For the first time, and this won't happen often, I agree with you. I was disappointed that he did not show up again. I will give you that, J. Real. He needed to be there.
But at the same time, it's still the president.
He's still the president.
It's not like he has nothing else to do besides, right. go to the game, the basketball game,
right.
and be on kissing cam. No.
Nah, he would have been there.
He was there. That's what I'm trying to say.
He was there last night.
He was there. He makes time for that.
Oh, he makes time for the basketball.
He makes time for the basketball.
NAACP convention, they voting for me anyway.
But he was overseas during
No,
that.
he was not. He was at the White House, actually.
Was he?
Yes.
Was that the weekend?
He was at the White House on the same day that the convention speech should have been given.
Handling some presidential business.
Right. Of course, because they don't have Air Force One that can fly them anywhere for an hour and bring them home. But that's not the point. That's not the point. He doesn't. It's not. We don't care that he has a private plane that he can travel anytime he wants. That's that's neither here nor there.
I'll give you that.
But I don't know. I just think it goes. I talk about all the time that I feel like we give him too many passes. Because he's black. He doesn't need to support us because obviously he does because he's black. It's kind of where it seems we treat him a lot of times, and I just think it's wrong, and I think it's going to bite us again in the future when there isn't a black president on the table for us to vote for, and we start seeing potential white presidents, future white presidents, and Democratic or Republican, and then they not show up to our issues. It's going to be one of those things where they're going to look back. They're like, well, when President Obama was president, he didn't make time to go. So why am I catching all this flack? Because Bush caught a lot of flack too. He refused to go twice,
right?
And he caught flack for that.
Yeah.
But we understand when President Obama goes.
No, I'm not saying I don't understand it. Yeah, he refused to go. He
refused to go.
At least Mitt Romney, he said, okay, I know it's going to be a tough crowd.
Which is why I give him a lot of respect because he did go and he didn't change his platform. He didn't pander to the audience and give a message he thought would be more receptible. He stuck to his guns and said what it is that he wants to believe, or his platform, I should say, for running for president. And you have to give him a lot of respect for doing that, knowing that, number one, most of these people are in here are probably not going to vote for him. And he could have said he was going to, without him saying, he was going to approve reparations. That was about the only thing that they was going to get behind. So, you got to give him a lot of credit for that.
And he did invite his black Republicans to clap for him when needed to. So that was clearly staged as well. The few claps that he did get, they were from the black Republicans that he invited. Lieutenant Governor Carroll.
Well, that's not true.
What?
They said he got a standing ovation.
Well, they gave him respect. They're not going to just turn their backs on the man. But the clap, it was given. He invited all the black Republicans.
I would too.
So that was what that was about. And they're going to respect the man. then
Give him a standing
that would
ovation.
just look bad on NAACP if they just
get it,
booed the whole time and sat, turned their head.
Give him a standing ovation.
Just that just didn't sit well if they would do that.
Give him a standing ovation, man. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Moving on, keeping going here. Actually, tonight we're actually going to have a little bit different program here tonight. We've actually been advertising on Facebook and Twitter. A slightly different program, and so we're kind of we're not riffing because we always got something to say, but we are changing things up a little bit here, due to let's say what shall we say? What is the word I'm looking for this in? Unforeseen circumstances. I don't want to say demand. That's not quite right, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, we had to change up the program here tonight a little bit. But I still want to talk about what was going on. We were scheduled to have a candidate here tonight, and due to some unforeseen circumstances, that is not going to happen. But I still want to comment on the District 46 is where this candidate was coming from. And on the OrlandoSentinel.com, they did have some information, another debate of these candidates that were vying for District 46. Those are, that's Pam Powell is one candidate, Jason Henry is another candidate, Rosalind Johnson is another candidate, Sean Bradford, and Bruce Antone is the last candidate up for that particular seat. And I was looking at the debate last night and seeing what some of these candidates had to say. They were all at the Experience Center Christian Center debates as well, but I missed that because I had to leave. So I checked out last night's debate, and I got a couple comments on that debate last night that I was watching on the OrlandoSentinel.com. You can find the video. Just search for the District Florida House of Representatives District 46 debate. A couple comments. One, looking at that debate, I found that the first thing I noticed is that this is a very important election coming up on that August 14th primary. For those of you who live in District 46, whomever wins that particular primary will be your representative. Because the only candidates in that district are Democratic, there's no Republican running. Whomever wins that particular primary on August 14th will be your candidate for that district, okay? So you don't have November to vote. You only have August 14th. So if you have a guy or a woman, for that matter, that you love and you want to be your candidate, you need to make sure that you go out and vote in those primaries on August 14th. Otherwise, your District 46 candidate will be chosen by other people. So that for you in District 46, this is not a primary you want to sit idle and go, well, I'll just wait to November, because you don't have to November. You got August 14th. So keep that in mind for those of you who live in District 46. You only have August 14th, and your candidate will be chosen as of August 14th. But looking at the debates, I found that there's pretty much 3 credible candidates in that district. 3 credible candidates.
Only 3?
Only 3. There's 5 running. I say there's 3 credible, and to me, 2 really. Okay? And I give you their names. And I'm not in District 46, so I'm not out here to endorse any of these people, because I'm not going to be voting in District 46. So I'm just commenting. And so take them for what you like. I'm just commenting. 407-894-1680 is the number.
Please call.
407-894-1680 is the number. And in my opinion, those 2 really. You have Jason Henry, you have Rosalind Johnson, and you have Bruce Antone. Now, the reason why I say there's 2 is because I see Bruce Antone. He is essentially a lifetime lifetime government worker, we're going to call him. And the reason why I say that is because he's worked in offices in the Florida House and things and around the government, for at least it seems like the last 20 years. And so from my perspective, I'm a big opponent of, career politicians. I think that's the last thing we need are career politicians. I don't think they serve any purpose to us because they simply continue to bring the same ideas back into the offices when they win, and we're never really generating anything new. We're generating the same old messages that they've been selling for the last 20 years. And so for that, he has all the experience. If you go on and you look at his bio, he has plenty of experience as far as working within the House and working in government. So I'll give him that. But me personally, I'm not a fan of career politicians. And so for that, I certainly, if I was in District 46, he would not be a candidate I'd be interested in. Now, Rosalind Johnson and Jason Henry, they're fresh, they're new. They certainly come across as being, we'll call them younger, certainly younger than Mr. Bruce Antone. And so they, hopefully they have fresh ideas that have not been presented, especially when you consider the challenge that they're going to face in walking into a Florida House that is dominated by Republicans, essentially. So coming in as a Democrat is already going to be a hurdle. But, maybe hopefully some fresh and new ideas can help them be able to succeed where others may have failed in the past. So for me, if I was looking at the district, those would be the two people that I'd be looking at. Again, these are just the personal opinions of Jay Real. They are not the opinions of anyone else, WOKB, or the members of Real Family Talk, for that matter. But but these are the opinions of Jay Real. Now, going back to some of the debate, again, you look at some of their ideas. They have some fresh things that they're looking at, some fresh ideas that they come from. Jason Henry has done a lot of work in the community, so has Rosalind Johnson. They both young people doing a lot of work in the community, trying to improve the community. So for that, again, I think they are at least great opportunities for those in District 46. I would certainly suggest them. I see we have a caller. Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say I agree with you on the District 46 comment you made. I don't remember anything that Bruce Antone did when he was in office, and I did go to the Christian Center off of 26th Street last week when they were being interviewed, and I also saw them being interviewed by the Orlando Sentinel. And he doesn't even interview well, although he says he has the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really between Rosalind Johnson and what's the other
Jason
what's the other
Henry.
guy name?
Jason Henry?
Jason Henry, exactly. They have the least amount of experience, but they were more articulate than the other two.
Definitely. The other three, for that matter. Yeah.
Well, the other one didn't even show up for the interview.
Right,
the
at
other
the
one on
experience
Orlando Sentinel, she gave me that because she thought it was a joke. And then the other guy, I don't know. He doesn't speak better than me.
Right. You're talking about Sean Bradford. He seems
Sean
like
Bradford, exactly.
Yeah, he comes across as he looks like one of those well-meaning type of guys, but he doesn't seem very well versed in the issues, and he doesn't seem to have a lot of solidified ideas to be able to bring across the issues that he presents. You said you looked at the Orlando Sentinel debates. One of the comments he made in that debate is he was thinking about bringing a legislation to reduce the importance of the FCAT. And as we said, in that district, in the Florida House, we're talking about a House full of Republicans. And so you're going to bring a bill to reduce the importance of FCAT in a House that's dominated by Republicans. And that's a great idea? No, it's not a great idea. I mean, it sounds good. It kind of goes back to a comment I made last week about trying to make people feel good, but it's not a realistic. It's not a realistic agenda in a Republican-dominated House. So definitely.
And I just want to say thank you guys for bringing out this information to us, because some of us don't even know who the candidates are.
No problem. That's what we're here for. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. So continue with some of my comments about that debate. So going back, two, in my opinion, viable candidates, Rosalind Johnson, Jason Henry. Bruce Antone is certainly viable. For me, though, he is a career politician. And for some people, that's not a bad thing. Some people like experience. And so if you do like experience in your candidate, Bruce Antone certainly has the experience. He has been in the Florida House of Representatives before. He hasn't been for a few years as a representative, but he has a lot of friends, connections in the House because he's worked around it for, like I said, I believe he said about 20 years now. So if you like that experience, he's certainly somebody to check out. But if you want fresh, new, young ideas, Rosalind Johnson, Jason Henry, I think, are great candidates to look at. Some of the other candidates I mentioned, Pam Powell, Sean Bradford. Pam Powell, when you look at the Orlando Sentinel debates, I was watching it last night and I almost felt like I was watching a comedy show. and some of the reason why I say that is because, one, she comes across as being very animated. And in business, animation is good and it can work, but it has to be measured. And I'm not sure, judging from what I saw last night, if that is even possible. The second thing I noticed is I also know that she's been a part of a lot of multi-level marketing opportunities before, and listening to some of her ideas, I swear she was trying to build a brand again in multi-level marketing. When you listen to, a little bit about the law of numbers, I swear she was trying to use the law of numbers in order to be able to create entrepreneur opportunities for individuals in District 46. I believe there's a meeting that she wants you to come to. But that's just my opinion. The other comment I had was, everybody loves the Easter suit. Everyone does. Everybody, you love your Easter suit, right? And so Easter suits are great, man. But Easter was Easter came in March this year, right? No, it was April. I'm sorry. Easter came in April, and we're in July, so it's time to put away the Easter suits. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Okay.
It's time to put them away. You got to be dressed for the part that you are looking for. Okay. You can't come into a business meeting in the House of Representatives in your Easter suit and be taken seriously. It's just not going to happen. You got to leave the purple and the green suit at home. You got to bring the dress blues and maybe some browns or something, and maybe a good nice black. But you can't come in there.
I beg to differ. I really like Pam Powell. If that's how you want to carry yourself, that's you. Your personality is you. I am a very animated person myself. I don't think that has anything to do with how I would run a business or run anything. My personality is my personality. How I dress is how I dress. I am completely against what Brother Real says. Mr. Micah King, I support Sister Pam Powell with a lot of different things. I'm not for sure where she stands politically, but I definitely will look into that more often.
Support the Easter suit.
How you dress is how you dress.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with nothing. My church says come as you are, so I believe you come as you are anywhere you go. If that's how you want to do it, you do it. Just do your own thing.
Well, and I agree that you are welcome to come as you are, but again, you also have you have to dress for the part that you want to be. I'm sorry, it means something to come prepared and look presentable for the job that you are applying for. Okay, you don't go to Charles Schwab and apply to be a job as a financial analyst and show up in a lime green suit with some gaiters on. You just don't do that. You're not going to get the job. They're not going to take you seriously if you show up like that. So you have to dress the part for what you want to see. If you want to be in the House of Representatives, you can't show up in your lime green Easter suit. It's just not possible. You're not going to be taken seriously. I don't care how serious you are. You're not going to be taken seriously in your Easter suit. That's all I'm saying. And you can disagree with me, but in the back of your mind, as you laugh at the fact that I call it an Easter suit, you're thinking, you know what? I wouldn't have showed up in my Easter suit either. So hey,
It's
real
elegant.
family talk.
It is very elegant.
Not at all.
It is
real
not an
family
Easter
talk.
suit. It is very elegant.
No.
It is surprising.
But you know her when you see her. She has been, that's just how she is. You can't knock it. You just have to be like, well, that's her. You can't say, oh, well, because you wear this type of hat, that means that you a fool for wearing this type of hat.
But the thing is, I agree with you, J-Real, because if you go before the Queen of England and they give you stipulations, don't come in here with this. You need to wear a hat if this is a hat for the appropriate event.
I guarantee you she still wear that same fit. If you show up with a lime green suit, they're going to turn you away.
You're not getting in. You're not going to see the Queen.
They're going to send you the other way.
You're not.
But that's the Queen.
Well, regardless, I mean, your presentation before people. You know, we've been talking about, racial perceptions and all those things. People of the opposite race, you show up with your big weave and your lime green suit and your matching lime green person shoes. Nobody is going to pay you any attention. They're just going to think you're just there. Right. You're just there to get attention.
It goes to the mindset of the person.
I think we have another caller. How you doing tonight, caller?
Hey, good evening. This is Bruce Anton. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Mr. Bruce Anton?
Hey, I'm doing well. I listen to your show from time to time, and I'm enjoying listening to your comments, the back and forth. And I've heard your assessment of the race, and that's how you see it, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody has their own opinion about the race. I just wanted to call and say that I think experience does matter. 20 years ago, I was Jason. I was Robin. I wanted to get into the political game, so I went out and learned the game and volunteered across the community. But experience does matter, and that's what I'm running on. I'm hoping that folks will, vote for me based on that, and that's all I wanted to call and say.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So there you go. That's Mr. Bruce Anton. And, and like I said, and I acknowledged that he does have a lot of experience from, I read his bio, and then I have seen him at a few debates now. And so he does have that experience. And so, again, if experience is your guy, I think there's clearly only one choice when it comes to experience, which is Bruce Anton. He's the only one that has the experience of being in the House of Representatives and really having probably deep connections, I'd imagine, to some extent to a lot of the individuals that are already in the House. So yeah, that's Mr. Bruce Anton calling in the show. I appreciate it. So that's, and the other candidate was there is Sean Bradford. And again, like I said about him earlier, really nice guy, really comes across as being well-meaning and good heart, you know what I mean? But I think it just takes a little bit more than a good heart to become a successful politician. And so that's just my opinion about the race. Again, go do your research. Bruce Anton, Sean Bradford, Jason Henry, Rosalind Johnson, and Pam Powell are your candidates in District 46. Before we go, do me a favor. I don't quite remember all the boundaries. If you can find that for me, just so that people know if they fall into the District 46 for me. But again, if you do fall in that district, and by now I'm sure you have all of your ballot information as far as who is going to be running on your primary in your particular district. So even if we can't quite get the boundaries here, if you can, you should have all that information. And so if you do fall in that district, like I said, please be aware that if you are concerned about your district and who's going to represent your district, you need to make sure you do show up on August 14th to vote in that primary, because whomever wins that primary, they will be your district representative. So make sure you check that out and find out if that's your district and go out and vote, so that the guy or the girl or the woman, I should say, that you want to win does win and is successful. So just a few comments there about District 46. We're going to get closed down. So before we close down, kind of end on a lighter note here. Another magic trade is out there, guys. Another potential magic trade is out there. They're doing their best to purge the Orlando Magic of Dwight Howard. So it's not really a new trade. This is one of the few trades that they were talking about a couple weeks ago. It involves, again, the Lakers and the Houston Rockets. And so it seems the idea, again, would be to send Dwight Howard to the Lakers Andrew Bynum would end up going to the Rockets, and then we would end up with a few draft picks and some young players, but not a whole lot of serious talent per se. Not anybody that you've heard of per se, and is doing big things in the league, but some young guys who potentially can and be successful potentially. So what do you guys think about that?
I don't know what is going on with the Magic, man. If Rich, if you listening to me, man, call me, and I will give you some pointers on what to do with the team, man. Because
Rob,
it's not Rich no more.
It's Rob.
It's Rob DeVos now.
No, Rob Hennigan is the GM.
I'm not talking about the GM. I'm talking about the owner of the team. Because if you hired that GM, it's you, buddy. I'm so sorry. I'm going to Ronald when I'm talking about McDonald's. I'm not going to talk about the owner, the managers of McDonald's. Because you're not doing the right things, dude. If you're trying to trade Dwight, and then you're not even going to get Bynum, you're going to send Bynum to Houston? Are you serious?
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, they can't. I think the issue there, one, Bynum has the knee troubles. That's number
Bynum
one.
has a lot of troubles.
And then two, on top of that, of course, I don't think they can get the long-term commitment out of Bynum, and so they don't want to bring him here for another year, because that's essentially what we'd be doing with Dwight if we kept him and then lose him, and then we still don't have nothing.
Because nobody wants to come to Orlando. They can look at how the team is ran from Shaq to now Dwight, and nobody wants to come to Orlando. And you can no longer blame the coaches. You can no longer blame the GM. You have to look at ownership of the company and say, well, maybe they need to go ahead and just sell it, because y'all are not doing a good job. I'm so sorry, but y'all are not doing a good job of keeping good potential players on the team. Y'all had a championship team, and then the next year traded everybody and brought back Turkoglu. Like, what is going on with the Magic ownership? That's what I want to know. Please call in and tell me something. If you out there listening, Rich, give me a call, man. I'm on Facebook, Mr. Micah King, Real Family Talk. I can sit you down. I played 2K2 many years, okay? I played these games, dude. I know how to run this show, because obviously you just got the money and you're not doing what it takes because you don't know what you're doing. This is when we have those people who have the money that are making these, moves against, and they don't know what they're doing with their money. But, I'm just broke, so I don't know what I'm talking about, because I'm broke, right?
But he has. Did you hear him, y'all? He has the 2K2 experience. Because that's all you need to be a successful owner and GM in the league
that's
today.
That's a real experience.
Brother Michael, we about 2K12 right now.
So you got the 2K2.
No. I've been doing it. I've been doing it since 2K2.
Oh, okay. I see.
I got 10 years of experience of owning a franchise.
I see.
And we've won every year on the game.
Okay. All right.
All right. I see we have another caller. How you doing tonight, caller? Hello?
Hello?
Yes. How you doing?
Hi. I'm Robin Johnson. I was just calling in because I was listening to your show tonight.
Okay.
And I wanted to let you all know what the boundaries were for our district.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it is Silver Star in the north. That's the northernmost point of the district. It's Sand Lake on the south. On the east, it goes to OBT north of Colonial. Then it comes down to I-4. Goes down to about Oak Ridge Road and comes into John Young and carries you down to Sand Lake. On the west side, it goes to Powers Drive, comes down to Colonial, goes out to Hiawassee, comes down Hiawassee a little ways and goes out to Edwidge Ranch Road, comes back in and goes down to Sand Lake on the south. I don't know if that's kind of confusing, but that's the actual district. So it includes Tangelo Park, part of Pine Hills, Washington Shores, Richmond Heights, Lake Man, Paramore, Rock Lake, Country Club, a whole host of different areas.
All right. We appreciate that. Thank you for calling in.
Okay, no problem.
All right. So
you.
so those of you that live in District 46, those are your boundaries. So if you fall in those areas, those were your candidates. Again, they were Rosalind Johnson, who's called in tonight, Bruce Antone, who dropped in tonight as well for a moment, Jason Henry, Pam Powell, and Sean Bradford. So that is District 46. Remember, if you have a favorite, August 14th, you need to go make that favorite known, because otherwise you're going to be stuck with whomever everybody else chose. So that's going to be closing the show out tonight. I hope the Magic do get it together. It seems like Dwight Howard is on a path to being gone bye-bye. So it seems like it's a wrap. It seems like the plan is going to be that we're going to get, I ain't going to call them scrubs. I'm going to call them a bunch of developmental players who are going to have to play with a lot of heart. But hey, here's the bright side of it all. We're in the East. And in the East, the A seed is usually needs to be about a 50% winning percentage. And so
that's not it.
And so maybe we can get to the 50% winning percentage.
That's not going.
Maybe we can get the A seed. Now we're probably gonna get bounced in the first round.
They
you
won't
know
even make it.
But at least we'll make the playoffs.
This is the brighter side. The brighter side is we all Floridians, so we can hop on Miami bandwagon because we already in Florida. So it's like, well, I live in Florida, so I like Miami. Rashard Lewis down there now. Ray Allen down there now, and I've been fans of them. So now I'm a Miami Heat fan. So I'm going to get my red and my black, turn in all my blue and my white, and then, I'm going to go ahead and get back with the Heat and throw it up, okay? Well, that's what you got to do.
That's Mr. Michael King's plan.
Wow.
Well, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm so sorry.
Ship.
I'm a Knicks fan. But since John Starks don't know Michael Jordan, I've been a Knicks fan.
We're going to support the Magic all through that. Of course, it looks like the candidates that they have for the head coach, these are all going to be, they're not young guys, but they are, a lot of them are going to be, two of them are going to be first-time head coaches. The other one, he had a brief stint as head coach, but he certainly doesn't have an extensive head coach experience. So we're going to have a young coach, but these are all guys who have spent a good 11 years or more in the league. So they all are very well versed in how the league works, probably have seen a lot of different offenses, and then, so have a lot to bring to the table. So hopefully GM Rob Hennigan, he can get it all together, pick the right coach. He'll get all the young players that he wants, get some hopefully high draft picks, because when you think about what they did in Oklahoma, they did what they did in Oklahoma by having high draft picks. All three of those guys that are being touted right now, Durant, Westbrook, and Harden, were all, if I'm not mistaken, at least top 6. I believe they were top 5.
Harden was not top 6.
I believe he was. If he wasn't top 6, he was top 8. He was certainly in the top 10 of his draft. I'm pretty sure, if I remember from some of the articles I read, he was definitely in the top 10. I believe he was like number 5 or 6.
I want to say
and
15.
the GM came from
right, and the GM came from Oklahoma, and so the thought process is that's his building process, and so hopefully that comes together. Hopefully all of that. Yeah, he was the number 3 pick, as a matter of fact. Yep, in 2009, James Harden. So that's what I thought. Top 6 picks. So so hopefully he can get him some top 6 picks. And we can build from the draft like they did in Oklahoma City, and we'll be on top in the little city, I guess. That's what they think of us as, right? The little city with Mickey.
What do you think?
We can be on top like Oklahoma City is right now.
What do you think about Yahoo? You think Yahoo's going to make a big turnover now that they got the girl from Google?
You talking about the CEO?
Yeah.
From Google, I don't know, she was a high executive at Google anyway, moving over to Yahoo to be CEO. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. We'll see. Certainly that's a big change in the internet realm, but we'll see what happens with that. So we thank you for listening to us again. We appreciate those candidates calling us, give us some good information there. Bruce Antone, Rosalind Johnson, District 46 is reaching out to us. We appreciate that. So we will see you next week. Remember, you can find us on Twitter, Real Family Talk, Facebook, Real Family Talk, and realfamilytalk.weebly.com. We'll see you next week.